just kind of just let me just try to run it back. And once I was already out, I was like, I got to score now. So
I think we asked you this on the postgame show. Have you ever done that before? Do you have to go back to like when you were 7 or 8 years old, or was there a time in high school or middle school that you may have done something like that?
yeah, back in rec ball, I had a 103-yard interception run, and I did a similar thing, but I actually almost stumbled at like the 5-yard line. So for like 5 yards, I was stumbling, and then I ended up in the end zone.
Danny, are there any rules with your defensive backs about when to and when not to in that scenario to run it out? Because, I mean, all kidding aside, David was 5, 6 yards deep in the end zone there.
Yeah, I mean, there's some common sense things that I think play out here. If he would have taken a knee, I would have ran out there and grabbed him and shook him up. I said, once he had the ball in his hands, I said, this is a touchdown. And I think you heard me say the story, during the game. I was looking on our sideline, looking down into the end zone, and when David brought the ball out, I never even turned to watch him. I just watched it on the jumbotron because I didn't want to take my eyes away from the play. The play was right there in front of me, so I just watched the whole thing, and it would have been a real shame if he didn't get in. He never would have lived it down. He never would have lived it down. But, he's as good as there is when it comes to making plays like that.
David, why has the defense been so good, particularly the last 2 games against William & Mary, which is one of the certainly top offenses in our league, if not in the nation?
Well, our coaches did a good job of, game planning. And really it was just all up to the players just to show up, and which we did. We came with a lot of physicality, enthusiasm, and we were ready to play hyped up all week. Both weeks, and that's one thing that I'm loving about our defense right now.
On the other hand, Brian, the offense goes from 20 points in the regular season finale against William & Mary to 41 offensively, I guess, take away the interception return for the touchdown. How did the offense take it to another level last week?
Well, of course we had another successful game running the ball, but as far as rounding out the offense, Coach Fisher likes to make the approach or the game plan really player friendly. So the players go out there and see a weird front or weird coverage, or they change something to try to prevent something that we're doing. We can let him know, and he'll see it up in the booth, and he'll make changes almost immediately.
Now, this was a game that you and Reggie really weren't quite as needed as you've been in the past. What kind of runs through your guys' mind? Is there a moment where you want to kind of tug on Kyle's shoulder pads and say, throw me the ball once in a while?
No. Well, in high school, I had a running back who was very good. So I learned early that if you run the ball well, you have a shot. So, I mean, at this point, it's playoff football. All I really care about is winning. And whatever is going to help us win, whether it's running it or Jacoby having a great game or James Pavick leading us in receiving yards, and it is what it is.
Hey, David mentioned how amped up you guys were to play that playoff game. I think I mentioned this to Coach at some point. It felt like a month to me between games. And again, it was like a bye week. Like, you had a bye week during the regular season. That felt like a week. This felt, at least to me, way more than a week for some reason. I don't know if it was Thanksgiving or playoffs. How about to you guys to have that extra week at Thanksgiving time?
I mean, it was great as far as, recovering. I came back feeling almost 100% new, like it was the beginning of camp. We definitely benefited off of that. I think so.
David, how about from your perspective? You kind of alluded to that it did feel like, you guys were chomping at the bit to play another game.
Yeah, like what Brian said, I felt good coming back. I ate well on Thanksgiving. So, we felt good. I had a couple nicks and bruises there. Came back feeling great and was zoned in all week.
All right, so that begs the obvious question in moving forward. Now it's pretty much 180 degrees difference. Not only you're playing the next week, but you're playing with one less day. How have you started mentally to prepare for this week's challenge?
Well, Coach Trott said this is a little taste of the NFL. We have teams that play on Sunday and have to turn around and play on Thursday. So we have that kind of mindset right now. And even with exams, we kind of focus on one thing at a time. If you have an exam, focus on that. And this was what Coach Rocco was saying. If we're in football, focus on football. Don't think about exams. Worry about that later. So we just focus on the things that are important at that time.
Brian, how about from your perspective, with the one less day to prepare and the excitement of a new opponent this time around, not somebody you're familiar with?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a short week, but I think Coach Rocco is he's really taking care of us, preparing us in the right way. And I know he would. He's a veteran coach. He's experienced. He really knows what he's doing.
And he's a coach of the year.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back, throw some accolades these guys' way when we come back, as well as our Spider Sports Line continues about halfway through on this Tuesday from Outback on the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric. Be right back.
We know what it's like, that persistent nagging feeling that will only go away when you get away. For those with a passion for travel, there's the new Discover It Miles card. You earn unlimited 1.5 miles for every dollar you spend, and you can fly any airline, anytime with no blackout dates. Just buy your ticket and use miles to credit your statement. Apply now and Discover will double your miles at the end of your first year. So go on, scratch that travel itch. Get the new Discover It Miles card today. Limitations apply. Double miles for new card members only. Learn more at discover.com/miles.
Hurry into Outback for our limited time only steak and unlimited shrimp starting at just $15.99. Hurry in for our sirloin and unlimited garlic herb shrimp or unlimited crispy shrimp with new volcano sauce. And let the bold flavors speak for themselves. Outback Steakhouse, done right. There are 5 great Outback restaurants in the Richmond area. Visit outback.com for the location near you. Prices, products and participation may vary while supplies last.
Need a good price on tires with great service? Visit Dyke Tire, your locally owned Tire Pros dealer, for all your car care needs. Our services start with a full line of tires for your car and truck, including Bridgestone and Firestone. We work on all vehicles from oil changes to repairs to your engine. Dyke Tire Pros is a proud supporter of the University of Richmond Spiders. For the best deals on Bridgestone and Firestone tires, visit Dyke Tire Pros in Richmond today, online at dyketire.com.
Luck Chevrolet is celebrating their 100-year anniversary, and they're going to use their century of experience to help you find your next Silverado, Suburban, Impala, Malibu, or Equinox. Luck Chevrolet uses their vast knowledge of GM vehicles to help you maintain and service your vehicle to keep it on the road longer and help maintain its value. So for Chevrolet sales, service, or parts, go where experience reigns supreme. Luck Chevrolet in Ashland and online at luckchevrolet.com. Proud to be family owned since 1916.
Lunch is on the table, and the Spider Sports Line is on the air. Live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street, on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network. Powered by Ace Electric.
3rd and goal from the 18. Lauletta to throw, right side for Brown. Touchdown! Right corner of the end zone. Brian Brown with the touchdown reception, and the Spiders take the lead. That is the Kyle Lauletta I remember. Put it right in his breadbasket. Brian Brown couldn't drop that if he wanted to. Put it on his hands, in his gut.
That highlights from the first William and Mary game from 2 weeks ago, just because Kyle didn't throw that much to you this past week because he didn't need to throw to you that much. What about my man Chris Anderson there, Brian, saying you couldn't have dropped that one even if you wanted to? You remember the throw, obviously. How good a throw was that from Kyle, and what's that relationship been like as it's built all year long between you guys, Reggie, of course, as well?
I mean, that throw was great. It was right. It was right where it needed to be. Actually, when I saw it on film, he was getting pressured, and he got hit as soon as he let it go. So the fact that he put it right on my body where I could catch it and kind of protect it is great. And as far as our relationship, Kyle's a great guy. He's very, very open. As far as what I'm seeing, what he's seeing, he tries to make me see the defense through his eyes, which obviously is important. But he's a great guy. Our timing, our relationship is coming along really well.
I want to take just a moment to kind of embarrass both of these guys with their accolades, because it's certainly well deserved. Both of them are all conference first team standouts this year. David set a school record for interceptions with the 105-yard interception return with his 9th of the year, which is the most in a season for Richmond. Brian's had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. It's the the first time that has ever happened in Richmond history. And, Coach, maybe I'm embellishing that one. I've been around here a long time. I've seen a lot of great wide receivers come through here. For none of them to have ever done what he did, to me, that one speaks the most volumes. Maybe not to coaches and players, but when I saw that he was the first one to ever have 2 1,000-yard seasons, that was impressive.
Well, Brian's putting together an amazing resume. I think that, a lot of guys, go out and they have a great year. A guy might go out and have a really good statistical season, but you're talking about putting together an amazing career. And he's well on his way to doing that. And, I thought I read or heard that, Laletta threw for over 3,000, and that's only the second time.
Yep.
And when was the last time?
Michael Strauss.
Last year.
Yes.
So how long have we been playing football here?
126 years.
126
years. I don't know.
Are you telling me the last 2 seasons we've thrown the ball more for than any season ever?
Did they say you were a defensive coach?
That's what I thought.
I know. You were a defensive coach.
What am I doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong.
Well, defense is doing pretty well right now, too, I might say. He's racked up the accolades as well. Brian set the single-season record also for yards receiving, and was named by the Touchdown Club as the wide receiver of the year in the state of Virginia. That award will be handed out tomorrow night at the Dudley Award, which Jacoby Green is a finalist for. Unfortunately, we won't be at that because the Spiders are traveling tomorrow night so they can get to Normal, Illinois for Friday night's contest. So all of those accolades are out there. And again, back to my theory about the best things are said during the commercial break. Danny and I were just talking about all their accolades, and then you said, Coach, the best thing about these 2 guys is...
they're juniors. And they'll be back.
So they are coming back.
They are coming back.
So they can do it all over again next year. But, hey, congrats to these guys that did win honors at the Dudley that I know we won't be at tomorrow. Brian was the wide receiver of the year. Jacoby was the back of the year. Nick Richer was the lineman of the year. I thought really deserving for all of them. I was just telling Brian, I'm going off on a tangent here. Do you remember the first time you and I really ever met and were in a car together?
Yeah, you get lost.
Kind of lost isn't really the way.
No,
White knuckled is more like it.
So the rainstorm, right?
Yes, exactly. So we announced Danny as our head coach, and I think it was that night.
Yes.
It was either that night or the next night was the Dudley Award. And Coach, of course, wanted to go and represent Richmond and start his process as the Spider head coach. So I took him to the Dudley, and it rained harder than it's probably rained since you've been in Richmond. And I'm telling you, folks, I was as white-knuckled as I've ever been driving to Short Pump to get to the Hilton to get Coach Rocco. I couldn't see where I was going. That's why I got lost.
Well, it's been all downhill since then, though, Bob.
That was my highlight.
That was your
I
highlight.
got you there safe and sound. Imagine if I hadn't, where would we be? Where would
Lord
we be?
knows, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, so I did kind of digress and go off on a tangent. So congratulations to all of our award winners. Obviously, won't be at the banquet tomorrow night, and we're all certainly rooting for Jacoby in that one. David, let's talk some X's and O's here real quick. We'll let you guys get back to lunch as well. So you got a brand new football team to prepare for. I know you study an awful lot of tape. How have you gone about diving into this Illinois State team? And obviously they have a terrific running back just like we do.
Yeah, they're kind of similar to William Mary. William Mary had some good running backs. So, those weeks I've been just thinking about how I'm going to tackle these guys. They have a good quarterback as well. And, I've been talking to the defense, and we've been, honing in on tackling, pursuit, running to the ball. And obviously we've been in the film room, which will help as well. So I've been trying to find some time to get in the film around finals and papers, which is kind of difficult.
Yeah, I mean, how different has this? It's all part of the playoff experience.
Right.
It's obviously what you want, but how have you and the guys adapted to the schedule that Coach Rocco and his staff have put together?
Well, it's still the front end of the week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to go in like in the morning probably, or during lunch, whereas at nighttime I'm doing a lot of studying and working on paper. So I'm going to try to change up my times when I'm watching film.
Brian, how about from your perspective of trying to learn a defense of a new opponent? Do they remind you of anybody? David said offensively they remind him of William and Mary a little bit. Do they remind you of anybody from what you've seen to this point?
I can't really say they remind me of anybody. I know they're really solid up front, and their back end, they're solid as well. They're here for a reason just like us. So I mean, as far as comparing to somebody, I don't really know, but I mean, we can't take them light. They're here for a reason, just like us.
Is it different preparing for guys, like I said, with Coach Rocco? You're probably looking at their jersey number to figure out who they are as opposed to the William & Mary guys.
Yeah.
You certainly know their names and faces.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is different, just because it's a different team. But we prepare the same way, look for the same keys as far as receivers, looking for coverages and indicators and stuff like that.
Did you guys care at all about playing William & Mary a second time? I mean, Coach and I both talked that it probably wasn't the greatest thing that could have happened in the playoffs, and obviously you dealt with it and dealt with it successfully. Did you care?
No, not really. When I found out, I was like, well, it's another opportunity to to showcase our talents. So I was actually excited. I was up for the challenge, and I'm sure Brian was too.
Yeah, how about from your perspective and being a local guy? I'm sure you knew a lot of those guys across the line of scrimmage anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't sweat things like that. I mean, I think there was a little added pressure just to beat them again. A couple added pressures that came from off the field. Just to come out and beat them again or try to play well against them again.
All right, go eat lunch, guys. Thanks very much for coming up here. I'm looking over there at those great meals. Go eat. David Jones, Brian Brown, 2 all-conference first-teamers, our guests today on the Spider Sports Line. Come back with more with Coach Rocco. Still got about 20 minutes to go. We'll do that when we come back in just a moment. Spider Sports Line from Outback. We're here as long as the Spiders keep playing on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network powered by Ace Electric.
What it's like. That persistent nagging feeling that will only go away when you get away. For those with a passion for travel, there's the new Discover It Miles card. You earn unlimited 1.5 miles for every dollar you spend, and you can fly any airline anytime with no blackout dates. Just buy your ticket and use miles to credit your statement. Apply now and Discover will double your miles at the end of your first year. So go on, scratch that travel itch. Get the new Discover It Miles card today. Limitations apply. Double miles for new card members only. Learn more at discover.com/miles.
At UR School of Professional and Continuing Studies, we offer flexible and affordable degrees to help you start, advance, or change your career. Explore our newest graduate degrees in nonprofit studies and public history. Plus, check out our new bachelor's degree and certificate in information security. With evening classes and tuition starting at just $450 per semester hour, you can earn a UR degree on your terms. The University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies. We work for working professionals. Visit spcs.richmond.edu for details.
Hey guys, this is Big Al, and I want to talk to you about something serious, prostate cancer. 1 in 7 of us will develop it. I know firsthand because I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Fortunately, I was diagnosed early, and when caught early, it's treatable. I went to Virginia Urology where my doctor discussed my options, listened to my concerns, and took care of me in a thorough and professional manner. So if you're over 40, have a family history, or are African American, you need to talk to your doctor about an annual prostate cancer screening. Call Virginia Urology, 288-0339, or go to virginiaurology.com.
Family means everything. When you think of businesses you love to use, think of how many of those businesses are family-run. It may be your local grocer, vehicle repair shop, restaurant, or copier company. Copier? That's right. Since 1970, Stone's Office Equipment has been family-owned and operated right here in Richmond. And every Stone's employee is dedicated to going above and beyond to help make your business better. Stone's Office Equipment. Check them out on the web at stonesoffice.com. Go Spiders!
The lunch hour's winding down, but there's still time for you to talk Richmond football with Coach Rocco. Live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street. This is the Spider Sports Line on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
Again, as a reminder, game time Friday night is 7:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Central Time. The game is on ESPN 3. I know many of you have commented a little bit about that. ESPN 3 is readily available. Just got to get it on the internet, on your computers, and of course, we'll have the game as well. Chris Anderson, Matt Smith, and I on our Spider IMG radio network. 7 o'clock Eastern pregame show, 7:30 kickoff on the radio as well as on ESPN 3 Friday night. Got a couple things for you, Coach, that I'll be really interested to get your feedback on as we move along. You made a comment at last week's press conference that I actually wrote down as soon as you said it, because I'd never heard a coach say it before. I've heard coaches before say, this is the most physical team I've ever had. This is the most talented team I've ever had. This is the most athletic team I've ever had. You said, this is the most attentive team I've ever had. I had never heard that before. what makes this the most attentive team? This may sound like a stupid question, but how does that help them be a good football team?
Wow. You kind of put me on the spot there because there's a reality that, first of all, to make a statement like that, you have to have done this for a while. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to say that about a team unless you've had a number of teams that you can kind of weigh in on that component. I was actually thinking about this a little bit today, and I got to be careful because, if I'm saying this was the most, that would mean some other ones weren't as good. I know. So there's a reality that everybody wants to win. It's got to be a common theme, a commonality amongst anybody in your organization. We all have different jobs. I'm the head coach. Coach Trott's the defensive coordinator. Charlie's the offensive coordinator. Carl Kotz is the director of ops. Everybody has a different job, but we all assume that we all want to win and we all want to be successful. So you look at the different teams and the makeup of the different teams that you have over the years. So the assumption is they all want to win. Okay, and some of them at times think that they know more about how to win than maybe the people that are presenting to them the information that they have to have. So from the very beginning, and it happened when we came back from Christmas break, I addressed the team in January, and they were extremely attentive. And I was like, it was interesting. These guys want to win. They're hungry to absorb knowledge, information, and they are wanting to be led. And do you know that that's not all that normal for people to want to be led?
Right.
And it kind of bucks a little bit, human nature. So I kind of sense that with this team. It's a little bit younger, but it's extremely talented. So there was this thought in my mind, and I said it to our staff. I said, these guys are going to really follow, our lead this year. We have to do a good job with this team because they will, in fact, follow our lead, and they will listen to our messages, and they will want to deliver. And, that's why you put me on the spot, because, like, on the back end, that's kind of what I think happened this year to this point. They bought into the messages that were being offered. It's not coach talk. I don't stand in front of my team to talk because I've got 5 minutes I have to fill on the schedule. I've got something I have to tell them. And they're all respectful, so they all, they listen. But are they attentive to the message? Do they understand the message? And what you're hoping when you're building a program is that the message permeates through the team, and with each year they can develop a higher level of understanding. So as a coach, as a veteran broadcaster, you should get better with time. You should learn your trade better. You should improve. As a student athlete, it should be the same thing. So that's kind of what I meant by that. And for me, it's extremely rewarding and very refreshing to know that you have their attention.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I mean, like I said, however many years I've been doing this, never heard a coach say anything about attentiveness, either least attentive team or most, that it was even in their psyche to be considering that. So I just thought it was really interesting, and another reason that this team is so fascinating to be around and to watch. Hey, the other thing I want to bring up on the speaking of ESPN3, the analyst on ESPN3 last Saturday was Al Groh, the former head coach. We remember him primarily, I think, at UVA, but he's been at Wake Forest. He's been with the Jets. He's had an illustrious career. He's actually going to be the analyst again this week for the game Friday night on ESPN3. Of course, he coached Danny at Wake Forest, and Danny coached for Coach Groh as well. And we had an opportunity. Danny, he was so generous with his time Saturday in the press box. He sat down with Matt Smith on our tailgate show to do a quick 5-10 minute interview. One of the questions that Matt asked Al was how Danny got to Wake Forest. As you know, Danny started at Penn State, played his first 2 years at Penn State, and then transferred to Wake Forest. Turns out there's a little bit of a backstory about how Danny got to Wake Forest, so I want you to take a listen to Al Groh remembering the story of how Danny Rocco went from Penn State to Wake Forest. Take a listen.
We almost didn't have him, so it was, I think, probably early training camp of his junior year at Penn State, and he decided that he wanted to make a change. So he went to see the head coach, Joe Paterno, and Joe was agreeable to it, and we're someplace you'd be interested in. Without any previous communication, Danny said, well, Wake Forest. So Joe Paterno called in on Sunday night. This is really a true story. And the defensive coach, our defensive coordinator, picked up the phone, and may I speak to Coach Groh? Sure, just a second, I'll get him for you. Who's calling? And Joe Paterno, hey, don't give me that stuff. Who is this? And he hung up on him. And Joe Paterno called back and said, look, I want to talk to Coach Groh, and don't hang up on me again. And so he went on to describe Danny and what a great addition he would be to our program. And maybe it was just our second season. We needed some personnel help, and certainly somebody coming from that Penn State program. So he came in, redshirted that year, was a terrific player for us, and eventually became captain of the team.
Did you know that if that defensive coordinator had hung up a second time, you weren't going to go to Wake Forest?
Yeah. Just the backdrop on that. My dad was a high school coach in Pennsylvania at Altoona High School at the time, one of the biggest schools in the state, and one of his first assistants was an alum of Wake Forest. So that was the connection there in real time. And then the gentleman's name, the defensive coordinator at Wake, was Charlie Rizzo. And Charlie was a great coach, great dude. But this is how I heard the story. When Coach Paterno called, Charlie said, oh, you're Joe Paterno? Oh, I'm the Pope. And then he hung up the phone. So I guess I'm glad he made the call back.
Good stuff. And well, I'll tell you what, Danny, we had a great time visiting with Coach Groh. I know you've talked glowingly about him. He's one of your all-time great mentors,
yes,
I know,
sir.
but he was tremendous with us.
And, you look at my staff, it's really an amazing collection in terms of guys that have had time or experience either at UVA or with Coach Groh. Bob Trott was with Al Groh at the New York Giants, forgetting what Cleveland Browns. They were together. Maybe Chapel Hill, I think. Mm-hmm. Leverne Beelan was on staff at UVA. He was Al Groh's defensive line coach for a couple of years. Fontel Mines, a local product, played at UVA when I was an assistant, played for Al Groh. Clint Syntham, played linebacker at UVA, played for Al Groh. Bill Poland was a graduate assistant at UVA, our first or second year there under Al Groh. Probably leaving someone out, but that's a real strong connection. And, in some ways in this profession, there are certain philosophies and schools of thought, and we all kind of share a common mindset about, what it should look like and philosophically, how to go about your business. And it's certainly a good model. And it's a model that Al has learned from others and has shared with a number of people.
Yeah, I think you hit them all. He said there were 6 of you on that staff, yourself included, that he had coached or coached with. He was very proud of that, too, by the way. I could tell just by talking to him. He was really excited. He had seen you guys in the office on Friday, and he was very, very, very proud of that.
I've got a great Julie story with Al Groh that I don't think I could share here on the air.
Come on, Coach. You've gone that far at this point.
I think it's time for a break.
It is time for a break. You're right. We'll be back. We'll try and convince him to tell the story. Or he's going to tell it during the commercial, which, as I always say, is when the best stuff occurs. Commercial break. Spider Sportsline back in a moment on the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
Of Professional and Continuing Studies, we offer flexible and affordable degrees to help you start, advance, or change your career. Our degrees combine the latest theory with real-world applications to empower you with the critical knowledge and skills to take the next step in your professional life. Explore our newest graduate degrees in nonprofit studies and public history. Plus, check out our new bachelor's degree and certificate in information security. With evening classes and tuition starting at just $450 per semester hour, you can earn a University of Richmond degree on your terms. Visit spcs.richmond.edu for details. That's spcs.richmond.edu. the University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies. We work for working professionals.
On newsstands now, Richmond Magazine's November issue ranks the region's top 30 best restaurants. Also included is our Carytown shopping guide. Make your holidays easier by knowing where to find the best goodies in town. And give the gift of Richmond Magazine. $10 for 12 issues of Richmond Magazine and 6 issues of Our Home. It's the gift that keeps on giving, literally all year long. Plus, you receive a bonus issue of Dime's recipes from our favorite dishes this year. Subscribe online at www.richmondmagazine.com/gift. Richmond Magazine and richmondmagazine.com. Your neighbor in the know.
This is the Spider Sports Line with head football coach Danny Rocco, live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street, on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network. Powered by Ace Electric.
All right, wrap it up. Got a couple minutes to go on the program. Again, our usual reminder, as long as the Spiders keep playing, we keep doing radio shows. And definitely appreciate Coach and the guys today because, as we talked about, schedules really changed this week. And there was probably a moment in my time Sunday when I wasn't so sure that you'd have the time to be here today. So I think our audience really appreciates you being able to include it in the program. All right, give us a final synopsis on Illinois State. Does it start and end with the running back who is outstanding? I mean, we're going to see two of the top running backs in FCS football Friday night.
Yeah, we are going to see that. I mean, their guy's an All-American player. Our guy is certainly an All-American player. Their styles are different. You know, they really are different styled running backs, but they both have had an awful lot of success and generated an awful lot of yardage. And then, you know, same thing with the quarterbacks. You know, their quarterback is a transfer, a very dynamic athlete. Probably not quite the pocket thrower that Kyle would be, but on broken plays and extended plays and on zone reads, he can make big runs. I think against New Hampshire last year, he had a 58-yard run, you know, that kind of broke the game open. Though that was a tight game the whole way, it kind of separated them and was the play of the game. And then I think defensively, they're kind of a blue-collar, you know, physical, tough group that takes a lot of pride in being able to tackle well and play physical, kind of a Midwestern, you know, blue collar mindset. And you know, obviously this is a team that made it to Frisco, you know, last year. And for everybody that follows FCS football, that's kind of a trademark of, you know, communication. You know, go to Frisco, and it kind of means you've made it. And so they made it a year ago, and they got a great coach, and they have a really, really solid football team. And probably at the end of the day, there's a lot more similarities between their coach and his mindset and what he wants to do, and our staff and what we want to do philosophically. And then the same thing with our teams. There's probably a lot more similarities than differences when you look at these two football teams.
Really looking forward to it. Should be a great game Friday night under the lights at Normal, Illinois. Again, thanks for being here, Coach. Really appreciate it. Congrats on the great win. Let's keep it rolling. David Jones, Brian Brown, our special player guest, everyone who's here tonight or this afternoon, we do appreciate you being with us. Hope to see you back here again next Tuesday. Airtime 7 o'clock Friday night Eastern. Kickoff 7:30 Eastern time. The Richmond Spiders and the Illinois State Redbirds quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs. Thanks to everyone. Mitchell, Matt, Nick, Blake, the whole crew. Matt, appreciate you being here today as well. We'll talk to you Friday night. Spider football in the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs. So long from Outback on the Spider Sports Line.